Hello again, Falcons fans. J. Michael Moore here for AtlantaFalcons.com. We are on mock draft version 3.0 on J. Mike's Missives. Hope everyone enjoyed a week off from the mock draft. I apologize for that. Lots of busy work going on with the Taco Mac Insider competition that we're doing on AtlantaFalcons.com. Be sure to check that out at AtlantaFalcons.com/insider. Now that that plug is over with, we're going to go right into the mock draft, again, version 3.0. And we're going to look at the Falcons pick and also some of the picks in the first round. I want to remind everybody the approach we take here on the blog with the mock draft is to throw out different scenarios and different names for the Falcons fans to pay attention to as possible picks. So this isn't necessarily what I think is going to happen. That will come in the last mock draft, I believe version 5 or 6.0 as we move closer to the big day. Leading up, we're just going to see a lot of different names in this selection process. To get you used to some of the names that might get tossed around on draft days, you're watching Mel Kiper or others on ESPN or NFL Network, and to also get a feel for the different scenarios that may affect the Falcons pick at 19. When you're picking at 19, other teams really do play an active role in what you can do. For example, Falcons are picking at 19, maybe a team down at 23, 24 range really needs to get a position, and there's a run that's happening. Maybe it's offensive tackles, maybe it's cornerbacks. The Falcons may become the trade partner at that point and say, okay, take our pick, get the player you want. We'll recoup some draft picks on the back end. So that's a scenario I won't mention particularly in the draft, but it is something to keep in mind and an example of how scenarios can really take place involving other teams. We can go right into the Falcons pick as I look here on the computer, and this one is for you Falcons fans because I've been seeing way too many people out there, not too many I should say, it's a good thing, but a lot of different picks out there saying, Taylor Mays, we want Taylor Mays. Well, number 19 this week, you will see Taylor Mays, the Atlanta Falcons, in the mock draft. Now, this comes with a caveat. Taylor Mays would be a fit for the Falcons if he switches to linebacker. He's a safety at USC, had a great career there, hard hitter. One knock on him was that he didn't have as many impact plays, interceptions, and different game-changing type plays, but an extremely hard hitter, runs very fast, can lay the wood when he gets to a ball carrier. So that's a guy that you would think Falcons front office would like. However, he is not a linebacker, did not play it in college. That's the position, if you're in the Sean Weatherspoon camp, perhaps, that's a position you think the Falcons need. Taylor Mays does not play that position right now. But I think no one can argue the fact that Falcons are ahead of the game in terms of rebuilding this roster, retooling it to give it the face that Thomas Dimitroff and Mike Smith want. So we're going into the third draft with those two at the helm. If they've gotten ahead of the game, if they like where they are, maybe it is time to draft for the future, draft for somebody you can develop in the first round. Teams have had some success with doing that, particularly at quarterback. You see teams drafting quarterbacks, it takes them a year or two to develop. Some even at running back. A guy might come in and be a number 2 running back for a while. Defensive tackles could end up in a rotation, not necessarily right off the bat as a starter. So you can bring Taylor Mays in, bring him along, let him learn the system. You're returning both of your 2 starting outside linebackers. Maybe there's a spot there. So I think a lot of fans, when they do throw that out there, and everyone who's commented on the blog included, understand this. They know that, hey, he's going to have to switch positions because you have William Moore, you have Thomas Taku, you have Eric Coleman, you have safeties in the mix. But a guy like Taylor Mays is intriguing because he can play the pass like a safety. If he could switch to outside linebacker and play near the line of scrimmage, he can be very disruptive. So, number 19, Taylor Mays, with the caveat that he would be a linebacker if he ended up here in Atlanta, at least eventually. Again, scenario, mock draft, version 3.0 is not the perfect one. It's not the end one. Just throwing that out there. Let's take a look here at some of the other picks. Not a whole lot of change from last week. I still think the top 5 got the guys right, or top 4 got the guys right. They might change a little bit. The trade for Donovan McNabb in Washington certainly changes things. They're likely not looking at a quarterback that high in this draft. Maybe in the second round they look to do something, although it isn't a very deep quarterback class. So still have them taking offensive tackle Russell Okung. Moving on down, Eric Berry dropped slightly to Cleveland Browns. I think Cleveland Browns fans would be thrilled to see him in a Browns uniform, see him there for the pick. He may be the safest player to select in the top 10 in this draft in terms of having a very long and productive NFL career. The linebackers, which Falcons fans are definitely keeping an eye on, have the 2 main ones going at number 15 and 16. Orlando McClain going to the New York Giants, middle linebacker. They, of course, cut Antonio Pierce. They need a replacement there. And then the Tennessee Titans, no Keith Bulluck, David Thornton getting a little bit older. Sean Weatherspoon can play all three linebacker positions. Seems like a good fit there, although they may go defensive line, especially tackle, as they keep trying to get that defense playing back up to par after losing Albert Haynesworth to free agency. Starting to see how much he really meant to that team. We're going to move on down to past the Falcons pick. Cincinnati Bengals take Brandon Graham. In this scenario, the Falcons would leave him on the board, but again, let's just look at this for what it is. It's names getting thrown out there, possible positioning, and once you get down past 15 anyway, it's really any man's game. Still like the San Diego Chargers taking a running back in Ryan Matthews. And then a division opponent, New Orleans Saints. Carlos Dunlap again left him in that spot. I think that's a position that the Saints will end up taking. Defensive end, maybe defensive tackle. Really try to make that position on their defense as aggressive as the rest of the group. Hope everyone's enjoyed mock draft version 3.0. Come back next week. We'll do 4.0 and then we'll do 5.0. Maybe we'll squeeze in another one before the actual NFL draft kicks off on April 22nd. And a quick mention, you can get live coverage of the NFL draft, or our own particular live coverage with exclusive interviews, exclusive features, everything on AtlantaFalcons.com on draft weekend starting at 7:30 with the actual start of the NFL draft. So live video, all kinds of cool goodies coming up on AtlantaFalcons.com on draft weekend. This is J. Michael Moore. Everyone take care. We'll see you next week.